Yo, Jonathan here. The second generation AirPods Pro are here finally. And honestly, if I had to pick one single Apple product and get rid of everything else, it would more than likely be AirPods. And yes, I realize on a technical level, they work better with an iPhone and all that Tim Apple magic. But more so, I mean, they're something that I use essentially every single day in multiple ways, and honestly, might be one of my favorite pieces of tech ever. The original AirPods Pro were ridiculously good, so I was thrilled to see whatever improvements these might bring. For those that caught the update video on my health, I appreciate the comments and the support. I'm definitely not out of the woods yet, still making progress, but also trying to find that balance of not pushing myself and continuing to make that progress and also not lose my mind at the same time. So for a quick breakdown, there's a new H2 chip packed inside, which is a huge part of the AirPods experience, as well as the computational audio side of things. That then works in tandem with a new driver and a new amplifier, so things sound better across the board, and that applies to both stereo and spatial audio. There are finally touch volume controls directly on the AirPods. There's better noise cancellation, better transparency mode, longer battery life, and a redesigned case. If you own AirPods Pro now, I don't think it's something that you need to run out and upgrade immediately. But if you don't own AirPods Pro or you're looking to upgrade from a non-Pro pair of AirPods, then I would wholeheartedly say yes. As far as the box and the packaging and what comes inside, it's very familiar to what we're used to with AirPods Pro. The new addition here that jumps out is the inclusion of an additional ear tip size. Previously, you had small, medium, and large, and in this case, there's extra small, which is new, small, medium, which comes on the AirPods by default, and of course, large. For me, medium has always seemed to work out well, but for whatever reason, if those initial three options didn't work for you, you might appreciate that extra flexibility. The case is redesigned, and most noticeably, there's a speaker towards the bottom, which is used to play a sound just in case you lose these. That then also works in tandem with U1 tech inside, which is going to give you a more precise location. On the side of the case, there's a lanyard loop, which brings me back to the iPod Touch. You now have an IPX4 water and sweat resistance on the case, and you can now charge the case with an Apple Watch charger as well as MagSafe and Lightning. Now, before I continue, I want to pause and give a quick thank you to today's sponsor, Ubisoft. You guys know music and specifically guitar is near and dear to me, so I was jazzed to showcase Rocksmith Plus. You can subscribe to Rocksmith Plus now at getrocksmith.com or by checking out the link in the description. If you've been looking to learn guitar and maybe have struggled to get into it, this is a super fun and interactive way to do that with an ever-growing library of over 5,000 songs, everything from pop, rock, indie, alternative, Latin, hip-hop, essentially everything you could possibly want. The more you have fun, the more you're gonna practice and play, and ultimately, the more you're gonna improve. It gives you a beautiful interface, real-time feedback, which is awesome because you can make tweaks on the fly. That progress is then tracked, so you can see how much you've grown day to day, or just the skills that you've learned and acquired over time. And the more you play, the more Rocksmith Plus adapts. What stood out to me is there is a free Rocksmith Plus companion app that uses the microphone on your phone to then connect your guitar, whether it's electric and an amp or an acoustic, and then track your performance instantly without any extra gear or plugging things in. So if you want to learn guitar, Rocksmith Plus is an incredibly fun way to do so. And if you want to learn more, again, check out that link down below. So after a couple days with these, I realized the speaker on the case is more useful than I initially realized. Yes, having that sound for the Find My is awesome, but it'll also play a sound when the battery's running low and when you're charging the AirPods. And I think it's those kind of everyday features that are extra useful, because there's been numerous times where I've thought I've charged my AirPods case, went to plug it in, and then come back only to find out that it wasn't charging that entire time. Now, as far as the sound quality improvements with these newer AirPods Pro, I think the best way I could elaborate that is, as much as I loved the first gen AirPods Pro, when AirPods 3 came out, even without the seal or the isolation or the noise cancellation, there was something about the way those reproduce low end, especially at lower volumes, that I enjoyed more than AirPods Pro, to the point where those were the AirPods that I used the most often. So upon trying the second generation AirPods Pro, that was the first thing that I noticed, is that it felt like I was getting everything that was great and everything that I enjoyed about AirPods 3 with all the benefits of AirPods Pro, down to the seal, the noise cancellation, transparency mode, with a little extra on top. So things were punchier, things were wider, and again, it's not gonna be dramatically different from the original AirPods Pro in terms of clarity, but what I did notice again is that better low end, especially at lower volumes. That of course is just in stereo, and for those that have been following me probably know that I've fallen in love with Dolby Atmos and spatial audio from consuming and listening to creating and mixing in that format, so that was something I was really excited to check out here. Now, even without personalized spatial audio, which I'll cover in a minute, I was kind of blown away with how good it was just out of the box. It of course isn't going to replicate a multi-speaker immersive Dolby Atmos sound system, but the fact that we're seeing improvements and seeing improvements rapidly has me really excited. Touching on personalized spatial audio, that was something that I was extremely hyped for with iOS 16, and essentially what's happening here is it's using the depth camera on your phone to scan and map your head and your ears. What I would assume is going on under the hood is they're calibrating it for your ears. So EQ, timing adjustments to make things feel bigger and wider and more upfront for your ears. For me, I think it made a pretty substantial difference in terms of making things, again, just wider and bigger, and you feel the depth a little more. But what I noticed most was how sensitive the head tracking was, to a point where it feels more like real life. Prior to this update and back on iOS 15, with head tracking, it would really work from left to right, and that was it. And the way that's working is really almost representing how it works in real life. So if I was talking to you and you turned your head to the left, you're gonna hear more of me in the right side. Conversely, if you turned your head the other way to the right, you're gonna hear me more in your left ear. The thing that I noticed immediately with personalized spatial audio in iOS 16 was that it now tracks your head up and down, which is kind of wild. So if you move your head up, the voice is gonna kind of sink towards the bottom of your chin. And if you move your head down, it's gonna kind of creep and float up towards the top back of your head. If you're doing more exaggerated movements and like swinging your head left to right, up and down, that's gonna feel a little more extreme and jarring, and I can see where that's off-putting. But if you're kind of just letting it do its thing and you're more interacting with it like you would on a day-to-day basis, just going for a walk, then it's definitely more subtle, and it's kind of surprising how lifelike it feels. Now, if you have headphones, throw those on now, because I wanted to try and recreate what that feels like if you're just listening to music in spatial audio with head tracking going for a walk.
One time I took the R train out to Bay Ridge for some kid, 'cause I thought we might kiss, and we did. And I hope he hears this and regrets the day he let me go. We were barely 17, he wanted me just like the movies, but I want the real thing, I don't want to fake it anymore. I can't get this out of my system. Baby, I'm just wired different. Slow to start up, but I'm in from day one. I don't know a lot, but I know about us. I don't know a lot, but I know I love you like we're gonna die young. I'm slow to dive in, but when baby I jump, I dive deep, yeah, shoot me with shots. I don't know a lot, but I know I love you like we're gonna die young.
So for me, this entire world is super exciting. And from my end, when I started to incorporate AirPods into my Dolby Atmos and spatial audio mix workflow, using those to reference as headphones in Logic Pro alongside speakers, that was a game changer. So in real time, I can hear how things are going to react or interact. I can hear that head tracking instantly as I move my head. So to be able to make those tweaks or adjustments and then tune things specifically for AirPods has been immensely helpful, and I think these are definitely gonna be my go-to option now. If you have Apple Music, I'll drop a playlist to the different spatial audio and Atmos tracks that I've worked on, been a part of, or even mixed. And if you don't have Apple Music, but you do have AirPods, I'll have a couple of downloadable files with instructions so you can save that to your phone and also experience that for yourself. Now, another reason why I loved and ended up reaching for AirPods 3 more was the battery life. It just felt like the pair of AirPods that lasted the longest, whereas those initial AirPods Pro, I always felt like I was just burning through them. With these second gen AirPods Pro, you're getting up to 6 hours of playback with active noise cancellation. I think it varies slightly with Dolby Atmos and head tracking, but any kind of improvement is welcome for me. You also get up to 30 hours of charge with the case, so I think that combined with the improved sound quality really fixes the two major reasons why I would end up leaning towards the AirPods 3. And I think for me, these second gen AirPods Pro are going to be my go-to. The inclusion of touch volume controls on the AirPods is also extremely helpful. I think it took me a second to get adjusted to it because they didn't change the form factor or add anything new. It's just kind of there in this small spot on the stem. But once you do get adjusted and used to it, again, it's kind of hard to go back to not having. As far as the improved noise cancellation, I think myself, I never found myself wanting or needing more of that on the original AirPods Pro. Maybe I'm not in those situations where I really depend or rely on it. Oftentimes it was so good where it would just kind of tune you out from everything. But in this instance, I think, again, if it's something where you didn't own AirPods Pro, you're getting a better, more optimized version for the same price than you would have with the prior generation. What I do think is a really cool advancement though is the adaptive transparency mode. So with that, of course, you're gonna use the microphones to hear your outer surroundings, and that way if you're walking or if you're in the street, you're not completely tuned out. In this case, what's gonna happen is it's going to still do that, but it's going to take maybe more extreme, louder sounds and then filter those down so they're not as abrasive. So piece by piece, you should start to see that it's a pretty solid upgrade. And I think, again, with the original AirPods Pro being so good, even if it was just better sound quality and better battery life, I would be happy, but all the extra improvements on top are just a bonus for me. Maybe the only thing that I was left wanting was potentially a better codec or a better way to take advantage of high-res stuff on Apple Music, but honestly, it sounds fantastic. And I think outside of that, these are just about perfect. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did and you are feeling like being awesome, make sure you guys drop a like down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jonathan, and I will catch you guys later.